What's up, everybody? Welcome back
Hello.
to another episode of Hollywood Tales with our awesome in-house guest, Mac Lawson, who we just met today for the first time.
Yep, that's me.
But I feel like I know you from Instagram because like you know when you're like watching Instagram and people like you're in people's lives. You're like, I know them. That's why I feel like people can get up. That's why I asked you to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot with my Instagram followers because I'm a pretty open and transparent person.
Yeah, and that's cool about you. And we're
you.
going to get into all that. But if you've ever been here before, this is called Jam in the Van. It's in West Hollywood, 3384 Motor Avenue. It's connected right next to a mosque. I don't know if you know that. For you Muslims out there.
It's a really, really cool venue here.
Yeah.
One of the coolest I've seen.
Multiplex, outdoor venue, indoor environment, podcast studio, green room with a full bar and roll your own joint station and video games.
I literally was up there. I was like, did I already make it? I can roll my own joint for free.
Everybody's performed here. Jeff Ross, Bill Burr, Tiffany Haddish.
Amazing.
Eliza Schlesinger, me, Ahmed Ahmed. The list goes on and on.
Not me.
You will.
I will.
You will. You're on the podcast, so here's the a good start.
Time.
Shout out to all the just the owners and the staff here, Jake Cockler and Jake Trainer and Dave Bell and Wolf Romero is our awesome producer over here and Jack Higgins. So jaminthevan.com. Just go to that website and everything will trickle around it. Our Hollywood Tales podcast is on their YouTube channel. It's on our own YouTube channel. Go to Apple, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. Let's get back to you.
Love attention.
So you have an OnlyFans page.
Yeah, I do have an OnlyFans. Great way to start it.
I haven't. I'm not on it, and I don't know what you do on it. But are you using comedy to channel your fans, or
so,
a little bit of both, like the sexuality aspect?
Yeah. So basically, OnlyFans reached out to me as
they reached out to you.
Yeah, through an agency.
Fuck! I wish I had OnlyFans reach out to me. I need an OnlyFans. I have one OnlyFans.
I've got like 30,000 subscribers. But basically, they were looking.
And how can they find you on OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, it's the same as my Instagram, so it's OnlyFans/Big Mac Lawson or /Mac Lawson. I have two of them. But they actually needed creators who wouldn't do nudity because they were trying to change the platform or the basis of OnlyFans. They wanted to be.
This
more
is recently.
Based. Yeah, this was last year.
Right.
So at first I was a little hesitant.
You're like, I really wanted to show myself. But I figured my jokes will do the trick.
Yeah. No, I was like, I don't know if my jokes will do the trick.
Who? I guess did they track you on Insta? Like, how did they find you?
It was an agency. So during COVID, I was doing a lot of work because you couldn't do anything else.
Right.
So I had reached out to a lot of different agencies, and the agency was looking for girls for OnlyFans, so they reached out to me through that. But I don't do any nudity on there, any full nudity. But eventually I did start doing lingerie stuff and stuff like that because I just realized how easy it was to make money. And my subscribers seem to be fine with it. I'm very open about the fact that I don't do any nudity.
I would say that most of us here are here
in
the room or are watching or probably.
They're still into it. I mean, it's still stuff that you can't see on my Instagram, but it's nothing that I wouldn't.
That's the one thing that female comics can get away with that male comics can't. A female comic, if you're hot, or you think you're hot, or you know you're hot, you can use that to get more leverage.
Yes.
If you're a comic,
yes,
typically that doesn't translate.
Yeah,
even if you're hot, I know a couple of comics out there that are I don't want to call them hot, but I would say they're good looking. Am I attracted to them sexually? No, but are they garnering the audience? I don't know. I'm not really tracking them, but it doesn't translate. Women aren't going for Matt. You know Matt Rife?
Yes, I do.
Hot.
Very hot.
I'm not even.
I think I've only met him once, and I was just like, wow.
He has perfect fucking
beautiful
facial
prettier than I am by a lot.
A couple times, I jumped out. I was like, "Oh my!" That guy's motherfucking hot.
Well, I think it's.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it's a double-edged sword, and I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day, but it's kind of a double-edged sword, being a female comic, especially I don't want to call myself hot, but especially if people are attracted to you, it can be a double-edged sword. It'll open a lot of doors for you, but then there's also can be some politics involved.
And then you said there was a rapper that you psychologically were attracted to.
Oh, Russ.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's
You know him, Wolf? Am I that old?
No, he's
I'm 51. Should I be keeping up on these like rappers and stuff or no?
he's not really I don't want to say like the wrong thing, but he's not like in the rap, like he is in the rap community because the songs are really big, but he's like I don't want to say he's not memorable because I obviously remembered him, but it's not. I'm gonna get myself in so much trouble already on this podcast.
We'll edit
but
this
yeah,
out.
he's no, you don't have to unless you want to, but he is just his mind. I'm very attracted to his mind and his lyrics and his music. He's very kind of spiritual and very big into manifesting, and he raps about that type of stuff. So I'm very attracted to him for that.
So you had, and again, going back, I feel like I'm re-asking questions from a podcast you already did.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I've never even heard of the podcast. What is it called? Can we talk now?
Yeah, it's called Can I Talk Now?
Can I Talk Now? You should check it out. Like that's why
He did a good job with it.
I was gonna do. What's his name again?
Nick Ballard.
Is he a comic or
No, he just
just has a podcast?
He just has a podcast. I think he just knows a lot of people and decided to start a podcast.
He's like me. Like he asks hard questions. Like I ask hard questions.
He asked me a lot of hard questions. I actually wasn't expecting you to go full.
No, but you were
into who
cool
you wanna
about it.
fuck.
So I'm like, all right, she's perfect
No, I
for
am
my
cool about it.
podcast because
Yeah.
I'm not over here like, hey, tell me a dick joke.
Yeah.
And have you ever showed your panties in public?
I
Like
hate
I'm
that.
not. I don't. That's
Yeah.
Wolf.
It's cheap.
Wolf. We got to get you a camera.
Yeah.
I swear to God, bro. See that camera like stand, that light stand? I'm just saying, just rig a GoPro right there and just get his reactions.
Flip to his reactions.
Because when he laughs or snickers or goes,
Mm-hmm.
psh, that means you know that you got to react. Like Wolf, he sees everything.
Well, I think like the best podcasts, you kind of get to like see what's kind of going on. Like Joe Rogan does that sometimes too, with his like guy.
I don't watch Rogan.
I don't watch Rogan, not a fan. I've only watched a couple of his, but I like the good ones, the ones about aliens and stuff like that. I'm pretty into.
Tomato. Let's
Yeah.
get back to you.
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna dig into it.
Yeah,
And we
that's fine.
have. How long do we have, Wolf? 30 minutes. About 30 minutes.
Okay.
We try to keep it high and tight here at
Yeah.
Hollywood Tales.
Yeah. Awesome.
You had apparently you are a top 10 tier gymnast.
Yeah, I was. So I was a level 10.
I'm sorry, level 10.
I was level 10. So
I said top 10 tier. I fucking made up
that's
some
pretty top tier.
some sort of terminology. She was the top 10 tier. You were like, no, level 10.
Level
motherfucker.
10. Well, there's so
Out of high school or like junior, like elementary school, or out of the
I didn't even go to school. I was just homeschooled throughout.
because your gymnastic career could have taken off.
I think my mom wanted it to take off more than I did. I was actually always into film and creating funny skits and was obsessed with In Living Color since I was a child.
That was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
I was
'cause-
on In Living Color.
Were you really?
I got cut out.
Oh, really?
It happens.
That's epic. That's
I'll
really cool.
I'll tell you that Hollywood tale later.
Yeah. So basically, I was really into film and stuff from a really young age. But I was living in Virginia, and it didn't really seem like a realistic career choice at the time. So I kind of just like let it be drowned out.
For you or for your parents?
For my parents. I fully believed in myself, but it just kept getting shot down. And
I know the feeling, bro.
yeah. So I did.
When people just shoot down your dreams.
Yeah.
You go, okay, think you messed up.
It still happens, and I'm just like, okay,
Of
just shut
course.
up.
It happens until the day, like until you die.
Yeah. So I basically I was a level 10. There is an elite level, which is kind of above me, which is the Olympic level. So
And
level
how old are you at this point?
I think I got to level 10 by the time I was like 16, 17.
Oh, okay, wow.
Then, my family really fell apart. It was always hanging on by a thread, but it fell apart around the age that I was supposed to be going to college. So,
if you don't mind me asking, I'm going to interject.
yeah,
When I
whatever you
listened to the podcast earlier with sorry, what's his name again?
Nick. Yeah.
Nick. You kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
You didn't go into it. Do you feel like you want to go into
I
it?
can go into anything. I'm very open.
So your gymnastic career kind of fell apart, and then you were homeless for a minute and all that. But your parents didn't support you. Like there was something happened. Something happened in the household.
They were never, they're my parents, and I love them. They were never really good parents to me, and I was the oldest. I mean,
what do you mean when you say that?
They kept a roof over my head.
But they weren't abusive, like
they
physically.
It wasn't really.
Like my
physical.
dad used to hit me.
It wasn't physical, but it was very psychological. Like very, very.
Sometimes that could be worse.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay.
And I was homeschooled too, so I didn't have an outlet. So I wasn't really aware at how badly I was being treated until I kind of, like around 1920, after I kind of got some stability underneath me. I didn't really realize how bad the abuse was. Around that time, I got diagnosed with PTSD from my childhood. So once
because of your parents.
Yeah. So once I started speaking with a psychiatrist, then I realized why I felt so bad every day.
Can I be? I don't want to turn.
You don't have to say "can I" anything with me.
All
I'm
right.
very open. Yeah.
I don't want to turn this into like a
depressing
Oprah Winfrey fucking episode.
It could get there real quick.
No, because I'm from Egypt, and my parents came from like Egypt, like the village. So my dad, when he disciplined me, it was like
bad. Yeah.
In America, you call that child abuse,
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Or we call it Chinese water torture. Like my dad used to do some
fucked up stuff.
Weird, fucked up.
Probably
shit.
why you're a comedian.
Well, there's more to that.
Just trace the trauma. You can find the comedians.
And I love my dad. And I've made a movie about him, and my dad is an anomaly. I don't get mad at him and go back and crucify him for things that maybe he did in my past, but your childhood is kind of described by how you are raised and treated, and whether it's lovingly or abusively. And there were times when my dad would try to box me and shit, and I was like, I'm 9.
Wow.
And he said you have to box my dad when I was 9, but
wow. That's crazy.
I fucking won.
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah.
He tried to kick me one time, and I grabbed his foot, and he was stumbling. I was
wow.
I was already sick. Plus, I was a senior in high school. I outgrew him.
Wow.
And he stumbled, and I had his foot, and he was like, and I go, that's never gonna happen again.
Once you kind of win.
And I put his foot down. He looked at me, and he was like, a part of him was like, how dare you do that to my father?
Right.
But then another part of him was like, now he's a man.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my dad's respect. I had to stand up to him. But your parents weren't physically abusive. They were more psychologically.
Yeah, no, but I still have stories that maybe could relate to that. But even so, I still have a difficulty maintaining a relationship with them. I think without being too disrespectful to my parents on a podcast, I think that some people just get stuck in a certain type of mentality, and that's just who they are for their entire life. And they get stuck in their own childhood trauma or their own childhood abuse. Both of them had very rough upbringings, and you can either choose to succumb to that and become like the people that you hate, or grow out of it. So I hope that I've grown out of it, but
isn't it all about forgiveness at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I love them.
Straight up forgiveness.
Yeah, and I love them
to the world.
Right, in general. Well, and I love them both very much, but too much time with them, and the abuse just continues. So I can't really spend too much time with them even to this day. So it's unfortunate, but makes for a good comedian.
Speaking of which, on a lighter note.
If you want to talk about my personal life, it just gets fucking depressing.
So hold on. So let me ask you. So, you disinfect from your parents.
Right.
You go homeless, technically, right?
Living out of my
Living out of your car, right.
Couch surfing.
Right. In Miami or?
No, it was actually in Virginia Beach.
Oh. Why there? Weren't you from Miami originally? Or?
No, I'm from Virginia originally. Virginia Beach, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so just kind of hopping around. Huge culture shock because I was homeschooled. So it was just a lot of really intense adjustment from the age 18 to probably the age of 22. Just I didn't really know. It sounds kind of weird, but I didn't really know what the real world was like. So a lot of adjustments and evolving in a condensed amount of time, but I made it. I got on antidepressants. That helped me a lot. Around like 1920, I got on antidepressants. I desperately needed them, and then things started to. I'm not on them anymore, but at the time, I really needed them.
What were you taking?
I was taking Celexa.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. This is like 10 years ago.
What did it do for you?
It's just, I think it's used for anxiety, depression, and it was for my PTSD. It helps
Isn't
me.
that called Xanax? Well,
I'm glad they didn't give me Xanax. I would have gotten addicted if they'd given it to me then.
you said something interesting in the podcast
Mm-hmm.
about how you were always kind of straight edge, like you never bought into like the drug
Yeah.
World.
Well, I think I'm pretty self-aware. So at the
Are
time,
you woke?
No, I'm not woke. I'm pretty anti-woke. We could talk about that for a long time.
You did actually reference a woke
Yeah.
reference in some way. I can't remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you used the
I
word.
said something woke?
You said
Anti-woke, probably.
maybe.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with some of that stuff. But what did you say before? Oh, I'm pretty self-aware. So at the time,
Woke.
I knew that I was very depressed. And I knew that, at least in my early 20s, if I had experimented with any drugs at that time, I knew I would have become addicted. So I didn't. I didn't have my first alcoholic beverage, I think, till I was like
20.
20. Yeah.
You said it on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you also talked about, let's go back to the homeless thing. So,
Mhm.
like, you're living out of your car.
Mm-hmm. And
How did you break out of all that?
well, for a while, I didn't even have a car. A family friend, let me live with them and then helped me get a job where I bought a car from the job. It was like $1,000 Sebring. It was like a really shitty car, but it was a car. And then I ended up moving out of there because it was just like I become a part of this family that I didn't even want to be a part of, and it ended up in chaos. And it's just hard. People say that they'll take you in and they'll help you and help you get on your feet, but then there's all of these like attachments to them helping you. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you owe me this.
yeah,
you owe me
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
that. That's a different podcast.
yeah.
Uh,
So I ended up kind of just like hopping around until I finally got my first waitressing job, and then at that point,
in
I was,
LA or Miami?
no, I was still in Virginia at this time.
Oh, Virginia Beach.
Mhm.
Sorry.
So then
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pharrell is from there, Pusha T is from there, Missy Elliott.
Never heard of them.
Really? A lot of.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Missy
really?
Elliott's from Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And who else? Nelly?
No, Pusha T, Pharrell.
Never heard of that guy. Pharrell is
Yeah.
from Virginia Beach?
Uh-huh.
Maybe,
Have a lot of talent.
maybe we need to do our podcast from Virginia Beach.
You should. There's a lot of talent from there.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have 3 little siblings.
You're the oldest
Mhm.
of boys or girls?
I have a little sister and then 2 little brothers.
What do they do?
They.
You don't have to say.
No.
I ask hard questions here on Hollywood Tales.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's good. I like to give them a platform. My sister is, she got married like pretty young, started having kids right away. And then my little brothers, one of them is in school to be a psychiatrist, and then the other one is a political activist.
So when like you pivot into LA and then like, you get into comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like how was that pivot?
How did I get into it?
Yeah, like what was the transition like?
So, I mean, I definitely don't want to be too depressing on your show, but I got into comedy through a brain injury. And it was really weird because once I did stand up, and for the first time, I had like an epiphany that's kind of what I had always wanted to do my entire life. I just didn't really know what it was called.
What was the brain injury?
It was
what-
domestic violence. Yeah. So
That's a different podcast.
yeah. So I'm like, you want to talk about my personal life? We could be here a while.
That's Wolf. How much time do you have?
Yeah. Anyway, how that got me into comedy is I was just dealing with so much that I would go on Instagram, and as like a release, I would just kind of go on these rants, and I would just kind of joke around and just kind of release all of the shit that I was going through in a comedic way, you know? And I'm actually really grateful for it because I don't think I would have naturally had the audacity to call myself a comedian, because you have to be pretty confident, I think, to call yourself, or pretty confident in your ability to be funny to call yourself a comedian. But because so many people told me to do it, finally I was just like, let me just try it.
And don't you feel like, and not to like,
Yeah. You don't have to apologize to me for anything. You can just.
No, because like comedy, and let's just call it for what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I would say 99.9% of stand-up comedy comes from tragedy.
Yes.
And yeah, and people like telling like their
Yeah.
sad tale or story, but it was so painful and traumatic to them. There's something cathartic
Yes.
about saying it to the world or to a small crowd or audience or big crowd or whatever the fuck. And when people laugh, you go,
It's like you get a piece of yourself back.
oh my God, they they related, like they got me, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And there's something real special about that. And so thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people think like comics, we're just up there slanging jokes.
Yeah, or that we just love ourselves so much that we're like, oh, we're funny. And no.
No, a lot of us are like really like singing our stories in our song, right?
That was a funny imitation you just did, right?
You had So fast forward, where are we at? We kind of like talked about your progression into comedy.
Into comedy, yeah.
Right?
So that was like
But from gymnastics to, was there a transition between gymnastics to comedy, or did you go right into it?
I tried. No, there's about like 5 or 6 years there where I was paying out of pocket for school, trying to get through school, and then I had an
college.
Weren't
you modeling and stuff too?
I was doing a little modeling here and there. It was kind of always something that I had in my back pocket, but I was a little bit too short. So
how tall are you?
I'm like just barely 5'7". So
it's not gonna work out.
Yeah, it's not gonna work out. Plus, I like to eat.
I'm just joking.
I like to eat a lot.
You seem taller in person. Like,
Oh, really?
Well, in person, and like, well, you're wearing heels.
Yeah, these shoes are pretty.
But like on
puffed up.
Instagram, you seem like a tall person.
Oh, I seem tall? That's
Yeah.
good. It means I guess I know how to take the pictures the right way. Yeah, exactly. You know my angles. But yeah, I was trying to do all that, and I actually ended up reading the book The Alchemist. And
I read it twice.
yeah, that's
They go to the pyramids.
yeah,
Right?
and
Doesn't
yeah,
it go
exactly, yeah,
You're welcome.
yeah. You're welcome. You wrote it.
Egyptian.
Yeah,
I'm Egyptian. We all know that, Wolf.
yeah, we know.
We should put that on my little. He's Egyptian. 100%.
You're welcome for the pyramids. Just put that in your
No, but
bio.
in The Alchemist, doesn't he go? Isn't his journey to go find his treasure at the pyramids?
Yeah, and what he finds is that the journey was part of the treasure, or whatever. But
Right.
the first chapter, when I was reading it, I just kept remembering my childhood dream of moving to LA, and I couldn't. After the first chapter, I just couldn't get out of my head, and so I said, "Fuck it! I'm just gonna go along with what the book says, and I'm gonna follow after my treasure."
Right.
And was a pretty cool story, my process to even get to LA, because I didn't really have a lot of money, and I don't have the support of my parents financially, at all, really, and so it was really a cool process to see how many times the universe, or whatever you want to call it, stepped in on my behalf. And yeah, that's a really amazing book. I feel like everybody should read it, especially if you have a dream at all.
There's another book out there called
The Secret.
The Artist. Well, The Secret I read.
Yeah, The Secret's
And
good.
The Artist, what's it called? Fuck. I'm going to fuck this up.
I don't know it. No, I'm like intrigued.
It's called The Artist. Artist Journal, Artist something. Anyway, if you're an actor or a comic or whatever, just Google inspirational books and you'll find it.
Okay. I'll have to read it. But yeah, I basically like moved. I thought that I was going to be like a director or something, because I think
For film or TV or comedy?
I don't know. Like, I just didn't have my self-esteem was too low when I first moved out to LA to call myself an actor or model, or I didn't have the ability to to do that at the time. So I thought I just want to do something behind the camera. And that's why I say I'm so thankful for my brain injury, because it really like pushed me to try it. But it's just one of those things where like I've learned through, you know, my life, all the kind of heavy things that I've been through, that if you just stick through it long enough, the energy will flip and it'll come as blessing. Like even right now, I've been incredibly blessed the past year now that my brain injury symptoms have kind of subsided.
Can I ask you what symptoms you had? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just want to go back.
Yeah.
I want to be like kind
as
of.
long as you're
I'm a forensic scientist.
okay.
So I just want to know like
more about it. Yeah, as long as you're okay with it, I'm down to talk about anything.
And by the way, we're happy to edit out whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is not live.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll edit or cut whatever you want.
Well, I'm really open about it. I guess I just don't want to depress anybody who's watching it. But like I said, a lot of memory issues. You know, really, really bad depression, light sensitivity. The most debilitating one was I would have deja vu all the time, like all the time. Like
I have it too.
But I would have it.
I've also had my ass kicked.
Oh, really? It might be why.
Not by my boyfriend.
Yeah.
No, I got jumped once.
Yeah.
I've been jumped. I once in my life.
Well, that was similar to my beating. Similar to being jumped.
I got jumped by like 5. We'll talk about that on another podcast. Yeah.
But yeah, and I had but the deja vu was like 150 to 200 times a day. Like I wouldn't be able to get through a full conversation without it happening, and it wasn't until
just like seeing it in your head.
Just like feeling like I had been here before when I knew I hadn't, and then sometimes I would feel like I was dreaming for like hour or 2 long periods.
Right. You're like a time traveler.
Yeah. Well, it was very scary.
Like, I know the feeling, bro.
But it was really scary because I was aware of how strange it was, and I didn't realize that there was a correlation between the concussion I had just gotten and my symptoms until I peed on myself one day and had to go to the ER. And then
peed on yourself like accidentally, or
I don't know if it was like the onset of like a seizure that was getting ready to happen
during the day or at night.
During the day,
just like walking around,
just walking my dog. Yeah,
really?
And so then I went to the ER.
Pretty sure I've done that a couple times. Wolf, have you?
I'm like, I'm a little young to be peeing on myself. I've got at least like 30, 40 more years. So
I'm like, what triggered that?
I wasn't even drunk or anything.
I love Chris.
He's hilarious.
I'm trying to book Chris for a show, and he's like, he's
probably nervous. You asked some pretty hard-hitting questions.
Me?
Yeah, imagine Chris.
No, not for the podcast. I have a show that I book in Huntington Beach that's outside that everybody did last year during COVID.
People were too harsh on him.
And I'm trying to get Chris. No, I'm trying to book him for it. He doesn't want to do it for some reason. But the owner asked me, "Can you get Chris D'Elia
on it?"
I'm like, and she offered him like a lot of money.
Interesting.
I think he's still shy about.
But they were too hard on him for that. And it's not just because I think he's funny or whatever. It's just like, what guys are not out here? The worst part about it was that he cheated on his girl. But what guys are not out here fucking young girls? I mean,
well, D'Elia, the problem with him is that, and not problem. I love Chris. I defended Chris for some reason.
I did too.
But I know Chris. He used to be my neighbor. We used to live up in the Hollywood Hills. He was my neighbor for a while. I lived with my friend Peter Billingsley in the guest house, and D'Elia bought the house next door, Craig Ferguson's old home. Really nice, beautiful French home.
Must be nice.
And we were cool for a second, and then he started like getting famous, and then he started like acting like
different. Don't they all?
He just started acting like he never met me. Like he literally would walk by the comedy store, and I'd be like, "What's up?" And he'd be like, "I'm like, bro, really?"
I hate when people do that.
You're my neighbor.
I hate when people do that.
He lives 2 doors down. And then he got popped for his whatever pedophilia charge or whatever they were claiming.
But they were all 18, 19. When I was 18, 19, I was flirting with older men on purpose.
Some of them were younger, and
maybe I'm
allegedly,
promiscuous.
I'm not going to get into it, but but when he got clobbered for that, you know, he kind of had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Like, this motherfucker had to get the rake out and start putting the fucking leaves together.
His next Netflix special is going to be called Some Pain.
Look,
He jinxed himself with that Netflix special.
Here's the problem with comedy, and we'll wrap it up with this. Where are we at with time?
10 minutes.
All right, we have 10 minutes to wrap it up.
Okay, cool.
I still have more questions. I have hard questions to ask you.
Ask me the hard questions.
Maybe you should come back and do like a second pod.
I'm down.
So let's do this. Let's get off the Leah for a second.
Yeah.
You got to LA. You transitioned into like comedy.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're back and forth to and from Miami.
Yeah, I moved to Miami during the pandemic because I felt like I had exhausted all of my resources in LA at the time because everything was shut down. So I moved to Miami to make some money and
Doing what?
Nightlife.
What
So
does that
I
mean?
do bottle service. Now I just do my OnlyFans. But at the time I
When
wasn't
you're
doing
doing bottle service in Miami, what are you clocking a night? 1,000?
about 500 to 1,000 a night. Yeah, it's really great.
In like the nightclub doing bottle service.
Yeah, and that's it.
With
Just
the flashy,
have a
what do
drink
they call
with
it?
them.
Sparklers and all that.
It's the best job ever.
Are you the lead chick? Or are you part of the whole flashy like? sparkly
I've been
crew?
both. It depends. Usually when you move to a new club, what?
I'm just because I know this scene so well. I'm just trying to figure
It's
out
so
like
competitive and weird.
where were you in
The tier?
yeah.
I think it was pretty high in the tier.
Like you told the girls, all right, girls, grab the bottle, get the sparklers, light them
Some of
on
the clubs,
3,
yeah.
and we're all going on 3. 1, like
As if it's so serious.
you're the quarterback.
I've been the quarterback. I've also been the new girl. So it's weird. It's like you ever go to like a new like comedy club or something like that, or there's like a new clique and you have to like earn your stripes. That's how it is with nightlife. It's like when I moved to Miami, people kept trying to little bro me, and I'm like, oh, you can't little bro me.
Right.
I've done bottle service in Tampa. I've done it in San Diego. I've done it in LA. And anyway, I just kind of got over it.
What okay, so you land in LA, the comedy scene is like that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you? And then let's wrap it up with your best Hollywood tale, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I gotta think of a Hollywood tale.
Well, you have 1,000 of them.
I have 1,000. I gotta think of my favorite.
I heard on the podcast. Sometimes you get asked up to people's houses, and there's the nice celebrities. Like, we want to hear your best one.
Okay.
But before that,
What's next for me?
plug what? Yeah, what's next for you? But also like, we still didn't get a transition into your like LA thing. So
Like how
in like 5 minutes, let's just cruise into like you get to LA,
I
you
get.
start doing comedy.
Uh-huh.
You're still multitasking OnlyFans and that other world. You have a place in Miami. You're not really LA based, but you're back and forth.
I think.
Just kind of merge all that.
Yeah.
in
So I
5
think
minutes.
right now where I am as a comic, I still have some room to grow on stage. So Miami is actually a really good place for that. I'm able to get more stage time, and I also get paid to go on stage there already.
Yeah.
And I think something as a comedian is that you also these days have to maintain a social media presence. So I'm kind of doing both.
Which you do.
I do.
Brilliantly.
Oh, thank you.
No,
And-
you're on social
thank
media,
you.
girl.
Thank you. I have.
I'm not. Like, when I watch her shit, I'm like, God, I got to catch up.
Yeah.
This bitch is, did she sleep?
What?
No, girl, you're like,
Everywhere.
I'm 51 years old. I think I need an assistant.
Yeah, I've got an assistant now.
Of course you do.
And I have more that I'm gonna be hiring. I actually have.
Can I work for you?
Yeah, of course. I need more help
Jesus.
right now. I have someone that's going to be. He's actually a really good editor who's going to be editing and posting my stand up. And then I have a podcast which is still in the works. That I have somebody who's going to be doing everything for my podcast as well. So a lot of that is going to be Miami based for now, and then my goal is either to have an apartment here that I can Airbnb, or just to maximize how much I can grow in Miami, and then I'll probably end up having to move back here, eventually.
Or if any of you guys or girls out there that aren't fucking creepy and shady, DM me on Instagram and
Oh,
or find you on OnlyFans.
wait, for me or
No, I'm just joking around.
for a place
but-
to live?
No, for you.
Oh, yeah.
Hit it. Tell them.
What do you mean?
OnlyFans, Instagram.
Oh yeah, everything is at Big Mac Lawson. So BIGMACLAWSON. But you know, with my podcast, I don't know why I thought you might be leading into this. I'm trying to figure out a good podcast partner. That's why I haven't started one.
Well, come in here.
True.
Do we have another Hollywood tale, or is that a wrap? Do you have another Hollywood tale?
Hollywood tale?
Like a funny, dark, kind of dark. I want to hear a dark Hollywood tale. Not dark, but like somebody famous you had an interaction with that rubbed you off wrong.
There's so many. There's so many. I mean,
Okay. How about one with
Black China? I mean, that's obvious, right? She probably rubs everybody wrong.
in 1 minute? Can you wrap up a Hollywood tale? Let's go.
I was Black China's waitress.
I feel like I've heard this story before.
For like a birthday party. I think it might even have been her birthday party.
Why did I hear this before? Keep
because
going.
I think she has this experience with everybody.
Oh my
and I like
God,
went to go ask her if she.
Wolf, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
Wolf, did somebody come on our? Didn't we have a guest that talked about this before? Oh my God, this sounds so familiar. I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's okay. She wouldn't even acknowledge my existence. I was just like trying to refill her drink. She must not be thirsty, and I like repeated myself like 3 times to her, but it's just like, how many times have I had that experience with somebody?
I know the story.
But then you meet people and they're like so nice.
Chrissy Newton. Remember? No, not Chrissy.
Waited on
Dude,
Black China?
No, we had. Sorry, keep going. I just want to. If you can finish the story, then I'll be like, oh, I can't.
No, I mean,
can't
that's
confirm.
pretty much the story. I mean, if we're talking about like, it's just like a typical LA story. It's like you approach, and it's never like the A-listers,
But
right?
what did she do to you?
She just wouldn't acknowledge my existence.
Yeah.
And I was her waitress. And I'm like, how am I supposed to
maybe-
refill your fucking drink?
Oh, no, man. You know what? Different job title, but same
Person?
I think. Yeah.
Well, and then I met,
Now that it all comes like, okay.
I met Drew Barrymore. I was her bartender once, and
She's nice, isn't she?
yeah, she remembered my name. It was like 3 or 4 months later. She
I
remembered
met
me
her.
and
She's
my
a
name.
Nice gal.
Yeah. So fucking LA, man. This place is a mess. That's why I'm like prolonging coming back, because I have this nice apartment on the water in Miami, and I like wake up every day, peaceful, happy. You know, nobody's trying to clout chase. Well, there are some, but
All right. So just really quick, what's next for you? Like, where do you see yourself in 5? You're young. You're like early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself landing in life?
I am really interested right now. My biggest comedy goal is I would love to recreate something like Living Color. I think right now our country, society, whatever, is desperate for comedy like that again.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of a long-term goal of mine. Over the next couple of years, the main goal is obviously my social media presence and opening. I would just want to find somebody to open up for on tour. Like, I want to be an opener. I think that's every like blossoming comics like goal is to be an opener for somebody. I have opened for a few people, but not like on tour.
What about personally?
In my personal life?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or should I call a therapist?
Yeah, we need to talk to somebody about this. I don't know what personal life is. I block it out, and then I turn it into content. My personal life, I think I would
Do you
like.
want kids?
Yeah, I want kids.
You do? How many?
I really just want one girl. Is that
That's-
sexist?
No, that's selfish.
No,
It's
she's
also-
gonna be spoiled. She's gonna have a great life. Maybe 1 kid, 4 kids. I don't really care. I just need to find a good husband first.
Perfect. Well, go to jamwiththevan.com.
Yes. Go to jamwiththevan.com. Watch my whole podcast about my depressing life.
Are we wrapping it up, Wolf? Guys, Wolf Ramirez. You can't see him. He's Spider-Man. He's Batman. He's everything behind the scenes. Directing, producing, editing, videographer. Our wonderful guest,
Thank you.
Mac Lawson.
Thank
Give
you.
it up. I was going to ask you. I forgot. Is Mac short for
McCown.
McCown?
Mhm.
That's your real name?
Mm-hmm.
So McCown Lawson?
Yeah.
Lawson?
Yeah.
McCown Lawson. We call her Mac.
Scottish. Yeah.
Ah, for the fuck's sake, you're great. Ah, you're
That's where I get my
great.
aggression from.
Thank you so much for coming on
Thank you for having
our
me.
podcast. We do this every week at a Jam in the Van. We bank a couple episodes a week. Jaminthevan.com. Jake Cotler, Dave Bell, Jake Trainer, the venue manager, Jack Higgins, our creative director, and of course, Wolf Ramirez. Jaminthevan.com. Music, comedy, weed, Islam.
Nice.
Fucking. No, there's a mosque next door. Thank you, dude.
Thank
Appreciate you. Check us out. Thank you. That's our episode.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.